Thank you very much, Madam Chair. All right, my name is Ida Tuambaka. I teach at the Lakeside University College of Ghana. And that's just about me. All those ones are just adjectives. All right, so I was invited by Madam Ethel. I think today is our first time of meeting through one of my students. I got to know her and she invited me and I accepted to be here. And I'm very grateful and honored to be part of this program today. And my topic is about advancement, self-advocacy, and resilience. And as women, we have faced a lot of challenges. Societal norms and other things have placed barriers on us. And we are trying to break these barriers and then also find our way in this cluttered world we find ourselves in today. So I'll talk about advancement first. If we talk about advancement, it's about progress, moving from one point to another. But how do we advance as women, considering the kind of challenges and barriers we find around ourselves? And the first step towards advancement is to know ourselves, is to know who we are as women. What are the special things we think we have in us? In knowing ourselves, it's not just about identifying our strengths, it's also to acknowledge our weaknesses, know what we are good at, know what we are not very good at, and know the kind of things we can also learn. And sometimes it's also not just about learning, it's also about unlearning certain things, because sometimes we hold certain things to be true, but as we grow, we begin to understand that there are diverse perspectives and we need to change our mindsets and then learn new things. So in order to advance, it's not just about only strengths, but we also have to acknowledge our weaknesses, know the positives, know the negatives, and know ourselves and what we want to do. If we don't know who we are and where we are and where we want to go, then it will be difficult for us to advance, because it will be like we are running, but we are still standing at one place, because we don't know where we are and we don't know where we want to go. So for me, I think that's the first step towards trying to advance ourselves as women. And then to also advance, we need to develop an attitude of lifelong learning. We need to learn, because every now and then things change. They are not the same way as they used to be, especially in this era of artificial intelligence, internet, and other things. Things keep changing. Some jobs in the near future, some jobs will no longer be there because AI has taken over and other things. So if we don't develop our skills and abilities to be able to match the change that is going on around ourselves, then it will be difficult for us to advance and to be able to live in this current dispensation that we find ourselves in. So learning is very important, and I know we are all students and we are all still learning. Beyond what we learn in the classroom, we would also have to look for other sources of information. Today is very easy to learn. If you go online, there are thousands of skills you can learn without even paying anything for it. So we should also develop that attitude of lifelong learning. And then the third thing I think would help us advance is to have a support system. And in that regard, we need to establish networks, and programs like this are a good opportunity for us to network and then find mentors, people we want to be like. They have already gone through the journey we want to go through. So we could learn or pick something from these people. Sometimes they say if you sit with an experienced person, it's worth what, 1,000 years of reading. Someone just sharing his or her experiences with you helps you to develop and advance. And sometimes it's not everything we find in books, it's not everything we find on the internet, but people's lived experiences also help us. They prevent us from making the mistakes those people made. And so if you have a strong support or network around you, and this network is about people, and I always believe that we don't meet people for nothing. Whenever you come into contact with people, it's not just a coincidence. There is something you can pick from everyone you come across. So let's have that humility and be ready to learn, because learning has no boundaries. There is always something new you can learn from someone, no matter the person's level or status. So without humility too, you cannot learn from people, because you look down on people and you think, as for this person, what am I going to pick from it? Maybe the person has something valuable to offer. And my second point on self-advocacy. Yes, we are in a world today where there is a lot of toxic information around us. And social media alone can make you doubt yourself and lower your self-esteem. Yes, so to be able to advocate for yourself, first you must have confidence and believe in yourself. Believe in your own voice, believe in your story. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else would. So let's have that confidence that it is God who created us, and that God is someone who is perfect and doesn't make mistakes. So you are not a mistake. Whatever shape or form God has made you into, He knows why He made you that way. And we all have something positive to contribute to the world. So in order to be able to advocate for yourself, the first thing is to believe in yourself. Believe your story, believe your truth, and be ready to share and tell your own story. Without that, then you cannot advocate for yourself. And we should also be able to negotiate for ourselves, build negotiation skills. I've realized that mostly in our part of the world, young people mostly are afraid to speak up, especially if they are in a group where there are a lot of people who are older than them. That power distance, people who are in higher positions, people are afraid to speak up. But we should be able to speak. Sometimes if you speak, that's where you get to know whether whatever you are thinking in your head is the right thing or not. But if you keep quiet and hold everything within you, then you may not know whether you are right or wrong. So sometimes if you meet people who are more experienced, if you try to share your experiences, they help you shape your ideas and perceptions, and it helps you develop. And this is strong. I accepted that as my weakness, and then I chose something I know I'll be comfortable doing. So we should know ourselves. We should be able to negotiate for ourselves in order to be able to advocate. And then also, in order to build our self-advocacy skills, we should be our own cheerleaders. Sometimes it's good you have people around you who will support you, but there may be instances in life where, although there are people around you, you still feel alone. And that's where you would have to speak to yourself in a positive way. Be your own cheerleader. Celebrate your small wins. You want to maybe become a doctor, but now you find yourself in a certain challenge. You have a plan. The plan is that maybe you are going to improve on WASI, and you did that and you succeeded. Celebrate it, although you have not reached where you want to reach yet. So it's important that we celebrate our small wins, and then we also try to cheer ourselves on, because sometimes you will not find anyone to cheer you on. So you be your #1 cheerleader and cheer yourself on. Otherwise, you lose your motivation and then you can't move on. And then the last thing I want to speak on is about resilience. So resilience is about bouncing back after we face hardships. So what are some of the practical steps we can take to be able to bounce back when we face difficulties? It's not easy, and for everyone, every successful person we see, they have gone through a lot, and it's because of that resilience, the conviction that you were not going to give up, no matter the challenges you face. Sometimes it's something that pushes you forward. And if you want to be resilient, first we will have to know we should be able to accept change and adapt to situations, because sometimes, as much as we want to, we cannot change the circumstances we find ourselves in. So we should just try to adapt. Adaptation means trying to change ourselves to be able to deal with the current situation we find ourselves in. So adapting to change is very important when it comes to building resilience. And I know as women, we are very resilient. Other than that, everyone will just have one child and wouldn't want to continue. But it's because of the resilience that women have, despite that difficulty. Someone can give birth to about 4 or 5 and then still be counting. So resilience is very important if we want to break barriers and then empower change. And then also, if we want to build resilience, it's not just about ourselves. We should also try to empower the people around us. Because whatever you give, tomorrow if you need something, it will also come back to you in a different way. So if you help other people around you, tomorrow if you also need help, they will be the lifeline that you need to depend on. So it doesn't matter who you are, the little good you can do to someone, no matter how little it is, you just try to do it. You may not know, tomorrow you need that thing back and it will come to you in a different way. So it's very important that we try to empower those around us too, because if you develop yourself alone and you don't help those around you, the burden of the others still comes, it's still on your head because you didn't go together. And so in school we may have mates who are ahead, who have done this, who have done that. If you try to help each other, it is in the best interest of everyone. But if one person progresses, the others are all at the back, it affects you in a way. And sometimes the failure of the others can hurt you in one way or the other. So in order to build resilience, we also have to empower people who are around us, so that in case we are found wanting, we face any setbacks, we have built a support around ourselves that we can rely on. So I don't want to talk much, so this is just what I have to share with the house. If there are any questions.